All right, I believe we have most everyone on here, so we'll go ahead and get started. Greetings, everyone. I hope you're healthy and safe. Thank you for joining us for this webinar on graduate certificates. I hope it is meaningful to you and you learn a lot of information today. My name is Shana Kleindens, and I am the Diversity Initiative Support Specialist for the Office of Recruitment, Diversity, and Inclusion, the Graduate School at Virginia Tech. And with me virtually today, I have Dr. Sharmita Lee, who's Assistant Dean and Director for the Office of Recruitment, Diversity, and Inclusion, Dr. Justin Grimes, who is the Assistant Director for Recruitment, Diversity, and Inclusion, and Sarah Wright, who is our Office Assistant. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. We will be taking questions throughout this entire event. This is made as an information session to you. So please, if you have any questions, please feel free again to utilize the chat. I will be addressing those throughout the seminar today. And time willing, we will be addressing some questions toward the end of this session as well. All right, so let's get started. So what exactly is a graduate certificate? So I have received multiple inquiries from events or emails from students, current students and prospective students who've either never heard of a graduate certificate or do not understand exactly what a graduate certificate means. So I kind of visited our website and searched around. The best definition I could find for a graduate certificate is actually through the University of Kentucky, and they define graduate certificates as an integrated group of courses that is designed to have a very clear and focused academic topic, competency, in its subject area. So that seemed to be the most roundabout definition and clear way to describe it, but there's so many different components on what makes a graduate certificate. So elaborating on that definition, they typically offer a specialized training or knowledge in a particular area of study, and they have defined learning objectives. So with graduate certificates, again, it's going to be kind of an area focused. Here at the graduate school, we have approximately 80 graduate certificates that we offer. So again, there's many to choose from between your liking or your intended discipline if you choose to pursue a graduate degree at a later time. The graduate certificate provides useful skills and knowledge about a subject area at a more basic level, and it can be completed in as little as 3 to 4 courses. So again, just kind of building that criteria, getting that accreditation under your belt, and if you choose at a later time to pursue a graduate degree, you could do so, and then you're still hitting those milestones and progress towards that degree completion. It is not considered a degree program, but the credits, again, can be used toward the graduate degree if you choose to pursue that at a later time, or if you if you're not really deciding on pursuing a degree at a later time, you can test the waters a little bit. So again, it's instead of taking courses at random, this gives you a track to complete, and then you can build accreditation that way, and you're still hitting those milestones along the way. So with that, again, it allows for an accreditation within the field of study, and it gives you the opportunity to preview graduate studies. So again, if you're not quite sure if a specific program is made for you, or you're kind of thinking, okay, well, graduate school sounds great, but I'm not sure if I'm really cut out for it, this is a great way for you to start graduate school, build those credits, and then at a later time, once you hit that progress, you can say, okay, well, maybe I think I'm going to pursue a degree now, or saying, you know what, certificate's where I need to stop, and you still have that certificate under your belt that you could use at a later time. So on to our next slide. What are the benefits of a graduate certificate? So there are many, and this kind of elaborates on the previous slide a little bit more. So not only are you building those skills and you're adding credits to your discipline, this is going to save you time in the long run if you choose to apply for a degree program later on. So again, this can be completed in as little as 3 to 4 courses, and it provides an affordable option for you to receive accreditation within a specific field. So in the terms of affordability and practicality, it's more beneficial, again, to work towards a certificate and test the waters for a graduate school rather than taking those courses at random and not necessarily being able to apply them to a specific degree program later. And in terms of career advancement, having a certificate will give you an advantage. This is seen as a graduate level beyond the bachelor's degree. So if you receive a certificate, you actually receive a diploma upon completion of that certificate, and you can add that to your CV or resume if you choose. So again, it's kind of just keeping that narrow track and then still being able to pursue a degree option later on if you choose to do so. If you are enrolled in a degree program, or again, wish to be enrolled in a degree program, the graduate certificate can almost act as a minor. So if you complete the certificate first, and if you are already enrolled in a graduate program, if you complete the requirements for the graduate certificate first, you could actually submit a form, which is called the application for degree or certificate conferral form, and you can still be accredited with that certificate before finishing your studies in your graduate degree program. So again, that's something to look into. And again, it's beneficial because it allows you to continue and build that accreditation while still working on your degree. So if you're looking for something, if you're applying for jobs, while you are still enrolled in your degree program, you can have this and add it to your CV or resume, and it already shows that you're on track to be more attractive to those potential employers. Next slide here. So why consider Virginia Tech for a graduate certificate? Again, we have many options, approximately 80 graduate certificates, but 4 are administered through the graduate school specifically. So with those 4, they include the International Research Abroad Certificate, the Future Professoriate Certificate, the Research and Translational Medicine Certificate, and the Inclusion and Diversity Certificate. So the International Research Abroad Certificate is led by the Graduate School's Associate Dean, Dr. William Huckle, and it focuses on knowledge and research expertise required to prepare you for international research or the international research abroad experience. So although COVID-19 is playing a part in a lot of travel right now, this certificate is still ongoing, and it allows you to build credits for 6 weeks or more of full-time research work abroad. And this is in collaboration with a VT faculty member who serves as your instructor. So again, not only are you being able to do your research abroad, you're going to be earning credits toward a certificate with that as well. So it's a double benefit. The Future Professoriate Certificate, again, is a very popular certificate, as we'll show you in some slides later on. And it's intended for graduate students who want to become faculty members. It emphasizes the need to create new models and methods of training for future faculty and academic leaders. And this fits in within our Vice President and Dean of Graduate Education, Dr. Karen DePaul's vision of transformative graduate education. And we'll share that link with you if you're interested in learning a little bit more in the chat. Next, the Research and Translational Medicine Certificate. And this was launched in response to Virginia Tech's initiatives to expand on educational and research programs, specifically within the health sciences. So it provides an opportunity for graduate students to acquire specialized expertise in translational medicine research and methods within a multidisciplinary and team science approach. So here we actually have a program within, I believe it's the Carilion field of medicine, and it's the Translational Biology, Medicine, and Health. I think that's it. Yeah. TBMH program. So if that's something that you're interested in pursuing later on, I believe the certificate would be a good preview of that program. And again, we can share any information with you in the chat. So the next one is the Inclusion and Diversity Certificate. And this one is a very new certificate. I believe it was just approved, if not for this upcoming semester, then the cross semester. So this is a very new one to the graduate school. And again, this critically explores both the contemporary and historical foundations of diversity, equity, social justice, and inclusion within multiple fields. It explores biases, strategies, and developing inclusive climates, including fostering inclusion and engagements to address diversity management opportunities and challenges. So especially within today's climate, this is a fantastic accreditation that you could add to your CV or resume. And the great thing about this certificate is it can be completed in a total of only 9 credits. So you will have 1 core curriculum class that is required, and the other ones are elective courses in which you can choose from. And we'll be happy to share information on how you can view all of our certificates in the chat. So going into the structure of the certificates, this is going to vary depending on the certificate program. So again, it can be between 9 and 12 credits. And this is something, again, depending on the specialized study that you could finish if you're doing part-time within a year, or if you decide to, again, enroll that or do both the certificate and the degree program. It's a possibility if you are counting those credits for both, you could finish in a shorter completion time than that. So certificates allow you, along with the core curriculum, to have anywhere between 1 to 3. So with that, some certificates may require you to pass the course with at least a B or higher. And if you do not get at least a B, then you will not have the option to retake that particular course. And you'd have to find another one that matches the certificate program. But again, you could use these credits towards a degree at a later time if you wish. So putting that in perspective, Virginia Tech allows up to 50% of the credits to be counted toward another certificate. So if you were enrolled in 2 certificate programs, you could, and they both the core curriculum applies for both, it could be counted up to 50% for another certificate. And if you choose to pursue a full degree program, you can count all of those credits. So again, you can count them twice if you are doing the certificate and the degree program, but they cannot be triple counted. So this, again, is a way for you to be able to get extra certifications under your belt or add those to your degree in a way that can really help you build your resume or your CV. The graduate school requirement is that all courses must be passed with at least a C or higher. and the GPA must be at least a 3.0 or higher, which is the graduate school minimum. Be sure to check the graduate catalog pages or the program's website for more information, again, because the specific structure within that certificate program may vary from the minimums that the graduate school requires. And if you are a graduate student, again, a current graduate student, and you do receive that approval, you can take the classes for the certificate almost as a minor. So again, just make sure that you are listing those on your plan of study that must be approved. And be sure to complete all of the paperwork. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to contact our graduate admissions at grads@vt.edu, and they'd be happy to address any questions you have concerning that. And then we'll discuss that in a few more slides as well, how that will work. All right, so this is just showing some of the graduate certificates and how they're awarded. Overall, you can see there is an upward trend within graduate certificates, and we are much higher than when the certificate programs were initially approved with it in 2009. So again, we're going from 135 conferred or awarded certificates in 2009 to 2010 to just this past academic year for 261 conferred certificates. So again, the trend is growing. And this is just kind of following up with what I had mentioned in an earlier slide. So these are the certificates that were awarded for our future professoriate certificate program. And as you can see, this is a growing program, rapidly growing program. And we had our highest amount conferred just this past semester, or this past academic year, excuse me, with a total of 60 conferred certificates. So this is not including those who may still be enrolled in the certificate program. These were just the ones that were conferred for that academic year. And it seems as though, okay, we did have a question in the chat, and they asked, are the classes for certificate required to be on the plan of study? And again, this is only required if those courses will be counted toward your degree program. If you are enrolled in the certificate program exclusively, that is not going to be a requirement of the graduate school. All right, and this is another one of our popular certificates. This is the Global Sustainability Certificate. And since that had first started in 2014, again, we just had 4 certificates conferred at that time compared to 48 within the last academic year. So again, more than quadrupling the total amount of certificates conferred for those specific programs. And this is just kind of showing, again, just trends within certain certificate programs. So again, when this one in particular, the Geospatial Information Technology Certificate, when it was released, it seemed to have a little bit of stamina in 2009 to 2010 with 6 conferrals being awarded within that academic year. And then it substantially grew as the need, again, as the need grows for the specific field, you'll see a lot of the certificates grow as well. So you'll see 2013 to 2014 is our highest with 21 conferrals. And then you're kind of seeing the trends kind of slow down and pick up again. And this is going to be based off of needs. So again, society has a lot to play in some of the trends for these programs. So if you're having an overwhelming demand in a certain area, you're going to see a lot of the certificates increase in that particular field. And then as the demand may not be as high, the numbers will kind of fall a little bit until an interest peaks. But again, just something to look into when you are considering your certificate is the need and the attractability to the employers when you are getting started within your program. All right, and I just want to follow up with a comment that was put in chat. So again, this is just kind of following up to a previous question. So, oh, sorry, it moved on me a little bit here. Let me go back up. Yes, so if you are in a degree program and you're wishing to apply for a certificate, there is a dual enrollment form that you will need to fill out. We're going to discuss that a little bit later in the slides today of how that process will look if you are already enrolled in a degree program. And we have another inquiry here. I am interested in the Foundations of Political Analysis certificate. I've noticed there is a GPA requirement of 3.0. My undergrad GPA was not stellar. However, my graduate degree program GPA was a 3.7. Would admissions committee accept the graduate GPA? So at the graduate school at Virginia Tech in general, we do offer a holistic admissions process. If your undergrad GPA was not so stellar, but you do have a graduate degree and your GPA is above a 3.0, we're going to take that into consideration. So again, to not hinder you from applying, and with that holistic admissions process, we're taking all of those factors into consideration for your eligibility as a student. And in another presentation, I actually have a breakdown some of the admissions processes that we have and can offer students based on that criteria. So if you do not have, I'll just say a not so stellar and reframe that there, GPA, there is a great possibility that you still could be admitted under a provisional status. So again, we don't want to hinder anyone from graduate school, and it's supposed to be more accessible, honestly, and not to hinder people from wanting to come to graduate school. So all of those factors will be taken into consideration. And again, I have that in a different presentation, but you're welcome to visit the graduate school website for more information on how that works. All right, and going on to this slide here, and this is the data analytics certificate. So when this one was first established in 2016, as you can see, we only had 2 certificates conferred for that academic year. But now it is a bustling certificate program, and we had as much as 11 last year. So again, it's going to be where those trends are falling and the need for society versus the demand for employers on how that is affected. Right. So how do you determine the best certificate for you? Again, you're going to want to pick a certificate that reflects your values and traits. So are you interested in doing something in a technology field? Are you looking for something that is more toward social policy? We have urban and regional planning and things of that nature. So again, just kind of finding out what is true for you, what is something that you're truly interested in, and that you could devote 3 to 4 classes of time to, right? So this is going to take, I would say, a minimum, or minimum at least, probably of at least 1 academic year. So where you would want to devote your time, because that is your hard time and it's your energy and your focus. So again, just making sure that aligns with your values and traits. And again, what is the demand? You're going to look at potential employers. So if you weren't thinking about graduate school previously and you want to be more attractive to an employer, what's the demand of that? Are you going to want to pick something that's more technology based or more of social policy and activism? And then again, just making sure that you are choosing something that does work for you and your interests. And as I mentioned earlier, consider the opportunities and the possibility for degree transfer. So if you are looking to study, let's say, data analysis and do a certificate in that, will that fit into the degree program that you may choose later on? Again, it's still an accreditation under your belt if you finish, but if you can maximize your credits and your profit, right? Investing some of those credits toward your degree program, that'll save you not only a lot of time later, but those hard-earned dollars as well. And as always, you can utilize the graduate certificate or the graduate catalog or the certificate program's website. So with the graduate catalog, we do have a full list of all of the certificates that are available, and they are all hyperlinked. So if you find one in particular that you like, it'll show you the graduate school's requirement for that program, kind of in a short blurb, but then it will have the website for the specific program in which that certificate falls under as well. So it's a fantastic resource to utilize if you just want to kind of see everything listed in order and kind of pick and choose which certificates are of most interest to you. And thank you. We do have the certificate catalog page hyperlinked in the chat if you'd like to give that a look. So the application process, if you are brand new to Virginia Tech and this is your first time applying and you are going in as a new student, that application process will look a little bit different rather than if you were already enrolled as a student in a degree program. And so what you're going to do first, and we have the links here, and I'll just ask Dr. Sharnita Lee if she may drop these links for you as well in the chat. But again, just find use the catalog link there and find a certificate of interest that works for you. And again, that link is going to be there. If you were applying, you are going to apply through the graduate school website. So we did just recently switch to a new client relations management software. So if you had looked at the application system before, it may look a little bit different on this next go around if you were going to apply for a certificate. And there's the link there if you want to drop that in the chat and give that a look. All right, and next, you will need to be officially admitted to the graduate school, but from there you would register or enroll in the courses. And all of that information will be laid out to you upon your admittance to the graduate school and the certificate program. Okay, so if you are a current VT graduate student, again, that process is going to look a little bit different. It's going to start off initially the same, right? So you want to find a certificate of interest that works best for you in your current studies or may make you attractive to a potential employer. However, instead of going through the application system, you're going to complete an application certificate form. And there's a link to that there. It's a PDF. And you are welcome to fill out the PDF and send that to grads@vt.edu, which we would actually prefer to have electronic copy. But if you must fill it out and submit it to the graduate school in a physical form, you are able to do that as well. So you would need an official approval for this program. And then from there, you would enroll in the courses, or if you are already enrolled in some of the courses required, you would just submit this form, and upon it being completed, you would officially have the status of being enrolled in that graduate certificate program as well. Right, it seems that we do have a couple questions in the chat, so I'll just take a moment to address those. Is it too late to apply for the fall 2020 semester? So with the graduate certificates, we actually receive those on a rolling basis. I'm going to discuss that a little bit later in the slide, but just make sure when you do apply that you're allowing enough time for the review of the certificate. Again, you don't want to submit your certificate like 2 days before the semester starts and expect it to be reviewed. And if you are approved or admitted to the graduate school based on that program, then you have to scramble and make sure you can get enrolled in the courses. So again, just making sure that you do allow enough time, I would say at least 2 weeks prior, to have that application reviewed. And another question, is FAFSA eligible for the certificate programs? So that is going to be a question. If you look at the BT Bursar website, it's bursar.bt.edu, and I'll have Sharnita drop that link in the chat. You could find out more information on how to fund your certificate program if that is something that you would need to do. For certain, and I do have another presentation on financing your graduate education. It kind of touches base on this a little bit. So if you are looking to apply for specific loans, it will require the FAFSA. And a lot of this is on the Bursar's website if you'd like to give that a look. All right, and just kind of going here again with the timeline and deadlines. For prospective students, again, the applications are reviewed on a rolling basis. So you just want to make sure that you are allowing enough time for the application to be reviewed. And since now, because of COVID-19, a lot of our employees campus-wide are teleworking. So you want to make sure that if they are able to get the certificate application, that they're able to review everything in a timely manner, and you can have all of your ducks in a row before you get started. The payment for the application is due at the time of which you apply. Lucky for you, that price is only $25 for the application for a certificate. So again, it's much cheaper than if you were to apply outright for a degree program. So if you were thinking that graduate school is not attainable, or that's something that you weren't sure that you wanted to explore at this time, or maybe had some questions, for $25, you could give it a shot and apply and see what would work best for you. And again, just work with the bursar's office if you're looking for additional financial information for applying for the certificate program. For current graduate students, again, you may apply at any time. You'll want to check for the dates of conferral for the graduate certificates. So if you are in a degree program and maybe you had taken a couple courses and then they count toward the certificate, but there's still a couple more that you would need to take. You want to make sure that you have this not only on your plan of study, but within the application itself, and that you're completing that certificate for conferral if you are finishing up your degree completion at that time, so they could be conferred for the same term. And if you are in a certificate program, and once that certificate is conferred, you are invited to participate in commencement. So this will give you an opportunity again, if you are in a degree program and it's going to take you a while to finish that, but you're going to finish your certificate program in a shorter amount of time, but let's say virtually, because that's what commencement may look like at this time. It may give you an option to have some relatives and family participate in an earlier commencement ceremony if you're wishing to do so. But again, you are invited to participate in commencement, and you do receive a diploma for your certificate upon completion. So that is where most of the charge for the $25 is coming from. There is only that one-time fee for the application, and then of course the diploma is built into that too, unless of course it is lost or damaged or needs to be replaced. And then there's additional form and separate fee you would have to pay for that. All right, again, so if you have any questions, feel free to contact us at grads@vt.edu. We would be happy to address any questions that you had regarding the certificates. And then since we have a few more minutes left, I'd be happy to address any more questions in the chat if you all have them. All right, if we don't have anything else, we do have a graduate information session that we are hosting tomorrow out of our office. Dr. Justin Grimes, Assistant Director for the Office of Recruitment, Diversity, Inclusion, will be hosting that session, and that will be tomorrow, August 5th, from noon to 1 p.m. So if you're interested in joining us and finding out a little bit more about graduate school, we may touch a little bit on certificates within that session. You are welcome to join, and then we'll be sure to drop that link in the chat. So we do have a couple more questions that I'll address. Is the application process different if you already have an undergrad and a graduate degree from Virginia Tech? So the admissions process is different from undergraduate and for graduate. If you have finished your graduate degree at Virginia Tech and that has already been completed, but you are applying again under a certificate program, then you would go back and do that application process within the system once more. So if we go back to the other slide, I'll go back here really quickly so I can show you here. So again, you would be applying as if you were a new student if that degree has already been completed and conferred, because you will be enrolling under a different program. And we have another question. May I know how many certificates I'm allowed to have? I don't believe there's any limit on the amount of graduate certificates that you can have. There is a limit again on the number of times the course may be counted. So again, if you're looking for a certificate program, and let's say some of the coursework that you were completing with one happens to fall within the requirements of the other, if it's just the certificate program, you could count it for up to half, and you may only count it twice. If you are doing a certificate and then later decide to apply for the degree, and all of that core curriculum and electives fall within the degree, they may all be counted towards the degree. However, you can only count the courses twice. They may not be triple counted. So I hope that addresses the question a little bit more thoroughly. We have another question here. If you are a current VT graduate student, keep in mind your department has to give you the approval. So again, yes, take time to think about what certificates are relevant, and thank you for mentioning that. So yes, again, think about the certificate that works best for you and within your degree program, or if you're applying outright for the certificate, you want to think how will that be attractive to your potential employer, or if you are looking to come back to Virginia Tech or enroll in a degree program once that application season comes on, then how will those courses that you're taking apply to that degree? So again, just making sure that you're maximizing your courses and your funds when you are choosing those programs. Right. And do we have any other questions? Okay, I do see one in the chat. We will follow up with you and take a look at what has happened there for the certificates, again, where we are switching to this new system. Some things behind the scenes may be a little wonky at this time. Again, you're going to make sure that it's going to be a different process if you're applying as a new student, meaning that you have not applied to BT, you have not been admitted to BT. And you are not a current student. That process will look different if you are a current student rather than a prospective student. So just making sure that that is clear. And if you have any questions, we will be happy to address those and assist you with that process. All right, anything else? All right, if you have any further questions, again, please be sure to reach out to us at grads@bt.edu, as you see here on the screen, and we'd be happy to assist you with that process. If you have more questions or you want to find out about more degree programs in which you could potentially apply that certificate to, be sure to join us tomorrow for the graduate school information session with Dr. Justin Grimes at noon, and we will discuss that further with you. Thank you again for your participation today, and I look forward to chatting with you soon. Take care.